man in the full knowledge of himself is a superb and supreme creature of creation. When man becomes possessor of the knowledge of himself, he becomes master of his environment and captain of his own ship, the director of his own destiny, the accomplisher of his own ends. Man should understand himself because man is full of knowledge, and this knowledge is a gift of nature. When Mother Nature created man, she deprived him of nothing. He was given the faculty of understanding all things around him. This faculty for understanding has not been taken away from him. None of his senses have been taken away from him. So there is no excuse for the black man.
Bridging my team, red, black, and green, queen, the king, salute, now scream, I should bring properly, I should. I'm ripping my team, red, black, and green, queen, the king, salute, now scream, I should bring properly, I should.
All right. I normally do a peace to everybody in the chat. Please like and share the show. Please share the show. I can't share the show. I'm in Facebook jail. So please help me share the show. Share. I usually do a Hotel dinner suit. On my channel, I didn't have time to prepare a Hotel dinner suit to someone. So today I'm gonna just do a regular libation ritual, and if anybody else have a name, they can say the name. But I'm going to honor a few of my ancestors. I'm honor my grandmother Eunice Henderson, Ashe. I'm honor my grandfather Robert Smith, Ashe. I'm honor my cousin Rashad, my young cousin Rashad, who died of cancer last year. Ashe. I'm gonna honor my other grandfather, Buddy Henderson. Ashe. Anybody else got any?
Yeah, I'd like to honor my grandfather, Jerry Donald.
Ashe.
Ashe. As well as my grandmother, Mary Harris. Ashe.
Ashe.
I want to honor my grandmother, Monica Ruffin. Ashe.
Ashe. Anyone else? Well, all right. We're gonna jump straight into it. We got a nice presentation today by my brother T'challa Bamgoura. Before he gets started, I got Sean was on here. Sean fell up out of here. I got Asai M. Ka, Satepin Ra, and Vasa Nicolo Gullah, as well as T'Challa on the platform. Y'all can say, y'all can go ahead, man, introduce yourselves if y'all got something to say.
ETEM Hitap Henu, to all the family listening. Uncle Asta Jet, Uncle Josh Seneb, conduct yourself in Ma'at, see your day in Ma'at, everything Ma'at. Dua.
Peace to the brothers on the panel. Peace to the chat. Ready to get this presentation popping off by my brother T'Challa. I guess I'll kick it to Sean next. I see you just pop back in.
ETM Hotep, Rennie, Sean, welcome in peace. My name is Sean. Please like the show, share the show. I'm gonna be in and out this thing. Kofi, I already know, man. So I'm expecting to either rewatch this build or participate in the tie build. Let's go to T'Challa.
All right, I think Brother Vasa still stepped out for a minute, but just want to say hotep to the fam, hotep to everybody tuned in the chat. It's always an honor and pleasure to be amongst like-minded individuals and to be on the platform, either Kofi Pieside TV or the Masa Warrior Clan. A lot of these things have been on my mind for a minute, so I just wanted to share it with the family and see what y'all thought. So looking forward to it. Thanks for tuning in.
Bravasa, you still out?
Peace. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. I'm like to say peace to the listening audience and everybody on the panel. I'm still trying to get everything logged in. I'm out of town at the moment, but I'm here to support Brother T'Challa, and I know it's going to be a great presentation, and I know everyone's going to enjoy it. And brothers, give me a second, and I'll be back with y'all.
All right. All right. I'm gonna share my screen. Uh, and again, family, we appreciate y'all for tuning in and joining us. Y'all could have been doing anything else with y'all time, but y'all came to participate, man, with us, rock out with us for a little while. Again, like the show, share the show. Let me share my let me share my screen. T'Challa, I'm gonna share my screen and go to your presentation. Hold on. Dang. All right. Let me know if y'all can see it. I'm finna hold on. Let me I don't forgot how to is it this one? Which one is it? The child of the share? I'm lost. Uh
Yeah, that's the presentation right there.
yeah,
You on the right.
would I hit the view?
Oh, yes, hit view because that should be or is it
Yeah,
present?
present. Yeah, I'm familiar with the Google slide, but it's loading up now. Give a just. All right. Let's see. Try slide caption automatic. We don't want no slide caption. Oh shoot, yeah. What? I think that's what we wanted. Hold on. I'm sorry. Okay. All right. There you go. Oh, I'm at the end of the thing.
Yeah.
This the first one. No, is it the first slide?
That's the first one I sent you, the one you just had. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Oh, all right.
hmm So we have remnants of the African traditions in the Western world: Halloween, circus, everyday makeup, everyday masks people put on to show the world. Meaning, this is the face that you choose to interact with the rest of the world. We all have that face that we have to ourselves in private, and then we have this public figure that we display. And we'll get into that.
Hold on. You know what? Fam, hold on. Am I? Yeah. Can y'all see y'all only see T'Challa or y'all see the presentation? I forgot how because I can't see nobody but your face. I can see the presentation.
Yeah, it's on.
Okay, I can.
Yeah.
It's on. Yeah. Okay. All right. My thing all the way off. All right. I'm sorry. I ain't want to stop. I want to make sure that they see your presentation. All right.
Yeah, no, right before we get going. So have we forgotten where we come from? What's the reason that we doing these presentations? Why do the brothers on this panel do what they do? And the sisters as well that's not present at the moment. But
Hey, hold
why is
on
that?
1 second.
Go ahead.
Hold on. I know what I'm gonna have to do. Hold on. Because when you talk, it comes off of the presentation. I think I'm gonna have to lock it on me.
Oh,
I
right,
thought
before
I
you
had it
start
locked.
presenting.
Yep. So, because when you talk, it goes straight to your avatar.
Mhm.
Sorry, family. We gonna get it right in a minute. We gonna get it right. I'm getting it right. My brother, he do them in Google Slides and he do them in PowerPoint too. I'm kind of unfamiliar with Google Drive. Him and Sean Masters and that. All right. Now we back on. Now you should be good. I got it locked on my screen now. But go ahead.
Okay. So have we forgotten where we come from? Why is it that we sit up all night researching information, putting together presentations, writing books, do whatever it is that we do? writing curriculums to teach the babies. You know, what did our ancestors do in order to build the foundation that we are now studying today? You know what I mean? And a lot of us have forgotten that. A lot of us haven't even learned that. Um, how can we remain current yet reach back and get or have a Sankofa mindset as we reclaim our African minds and get our African minds back? You know, and you can go ahead and go to the next slide so we can just jump right in.
Okay.
So, being that Halloween just passed, it's always an interesting time of year for me because, people are real ignorant and bold these days, especially with number 45 in office. I walk around cultured all day long. I got on African garb, some type of African bead, African shirt. I'm like Brother Kofi. I just walk around with it on all day, you know. And I had some people ask me recently if I was dressing up for Halloween, you know. And it's just crazy because people get ignorant and bold with their statements. Didn't Dr. Ben say we admit our ignorance where our questions? So, Halloween, All Hallows Eve, the idea of masquerading around, putting on makeup or face paint, all these different things that we do. So the first point, Halloween is the eve of a 3-day period of celebration, honoring and memorializing the dead. Okay. So, like I told Brother Kofi, I wanted this to be a little interactive with how we do this presentation. So, how many of the brothers on the panel and those in the chat would agree that Halloween is what the first point said? That is the dealing with the celebration of the dead, or honoring, memorializing the dead and things like that.
I agree.
Okay.
I think it used to be, and it's in its roots. I
Mm-hmm.
think it's built off of a celebration we call Ka Her Ka, which we ended up turning into Memorial Day over here, which the Day of the Dead for the Spanish, or for the Mexicano in particular, not the Spanish, and then it becomes uh, it becomes demonized later on.
Mm-hmm. Anybody else? Okay. Oh, I got a typo here on the next bullet. It's believed to have been stated by I got two typos here. I'm sorry, family. I was kind of trying to put this together real quick, been so busy. But basically, what I'm saying is that it's believed to have been started, or the origins, by the pagans, the Catholics with the All Saints Eve, the Christians with the All Hallows Eve, as well as any other indigenous cultures, around the world that have the traditions of honoring the ancestors. So basically, the origins, as Brother Sarim Khan just stated, in its roots is built upon traditions that were around the world honoring the ancestors, especially our own African being the first and being the tone setters to really show the world how we do that because we was first here doing that. No one else was on the planet honoring nothing. It was just us. Okay. So basically, where do you get the idea of putting on makeup or face paint and putting on a mask and dancing around and trying to imitate and embody another spirit? Is
Hmm.
is that not something that we do when we talk about the mask in Africa, as Brother Kofi has presented countless times? African traditions and masks and drums, all these presentations he's been doing. And then we turn around on October 31st with a whole month of October, everybody running around trying to get their masquerade together, you know, trying to get their face paint and makeup together to get their spirit embodied, right? Okay. So let's move on to the next one. Hinduism has a festival called Pitru Paksha, done during their month of Bhadrapada, which is in mid-September. Also my birthday, by the way, in which they believe it keeps their ancestors' souls at rest. Now, I put that in here because I found that very interesting. You know, a lot of blacks like to gravitate towards Hindu culture and they want to Egyptian yoga-ize it and they want to black yoga this and black Hindu concept this and chakra this and chakra that without any type of real research behind it. If there's correlations to be made and if there's similarities, by all means. But what I'm saying is, we have been the first to do this, keeping our ancestors' souls at rest. Isn't that the whole purpose of Ma'at, being in Ma'at? Is so that our ancestors can be proud of their continuation, their extension being us, walking in the footsteps that they would have liked us to. Hmm. Face paint and makeup are all a part of the costumes and ceremonies performed to embody the spirit or character each individual desires. Hmm. So, isn't there a phrase that goes, imitation is the most sincerest form of flattery?
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing when you put on a costume, an entire garb, and this and that, and then you decorate your face, and what do the kids do? They run around and they start acting like whatever little thing that they done dressed up as, right?
Facts.
And what do we do in Africa when we get the music going and we put on that raffia and we put on the fishnet and we put on the cowrie shells and all of the things that have been presented and we run around and do what? Embody a spirit.
Mm.
People here in the West and all over the world wear makeup and face paint for various reasons. Work, celebration of any kind, dinner with the friends. You know, the ladies, they get jazzed up real nice when they going out with their friends to go to dinner. And you would think they going to, like, man, you going to somebody's wedding reception? No, we just going out with Keisha and them, TGI Fridays and this and that. And they be looking good, you know. But the point is, there's a call, a kind of ritual, a ceremony that goes on for them to go ahead and put on the makeup. It's a custom, it's a tradition at this point, you know. And so I just find it interesting that we continue to embody spirits or attempt to do so, but we don't even know what we're doing. We don't even know the origins of why we even got dealing with all this stuff. Because when you research Halloween, they give you the European origins. But where did they get it from? Anybody got anything they want to add or say before we go on to the next slide?
Oh, I mean, you cooking with fish grease, man. You cooking with fish grease. Like a lot of this stuff, um, on my African Masquerade is African Masquerade, the first performance art and something else. I mean, what you dealing with, I talked about this same thing, man, trying to drive this point home, and I demonstrated with the masquerades and the dressing up, you know what I'm saying, the origins, and then show the particular styles of the Europeans with the dressing up for Halloween or the different masquerades or the masquerade balls that they put on for certain types of events or the uh dang, I can't think of the thing in New Orleans that
Carnival.
they do
Carnival,
yeah
baby. Carnival.
that they do every year. So you cooking, man. I mean,
What
you
about
cooking.
Mardi Gras?
Yeah,
Mardi
the
Gras,
Mardi Gras.
Carnival. Yeah. I would say that this was the first influence. Because we know the demonization comes later, as you're about to probably point out. Even Greece was running around trying to celebrate like we did it in Africa. So The rest of the world at some point in time decides that spirituality should be demonized, and in particular, jubilation in partying and what have you, which is why they try to make fun of you dancing. When truthfully, we know dancing is a healer. We know music is a healer. We know
Mhm.
sound is healing. So if they want to put that science down the rest of the world, that's their problem. I don't see why we should do it. I definitely don't think that we should stop doing it. It's part of what Africans have used to heal for years, and it still works.
Hmm. Brother Voss, I don't know if you're back or ready yet, but if you wanted to add something, your input is definitely welcome, brother. Or brother Satep, I mean, you didn't say nothing either, so.
Hello? Yeah, I'm listening. I'm sorry, y'all. I had to feed my son real quick. Um, at the moment, I'm listening. I am keeping up. I don't want to chime in. I feel like it would be disrespectful at this point because I wasn't able to give 100% of my undivided attention. But I'm listening. I'm keeping up with the key points. But at this moment, no, I don't want to waste any of the time of the panel.
Okay. And brother Satep, were you
Yeah, yeah, go. You good, bro? I'm gonna get in where I fit in. You good?
okay? All right, brother Kofi, go to the next slide. Because see, I'm asked about this kind of stuff all day long. I get asked about just off of, and I've said it many times, off the way I look, the way I dress. I don't dress to have attention. This is who I am to express myself as the African and the many Africans in me, being that my DNA references all over the continent. So I'm not just from West Africa, my lineage at this point as an African American. Many of us, we have lineage from all over the continent. So we have the right to claim it all. And circus acts and elements of incredible feats that only a select few people in the world are capable of achieving. These are things that we've witnessed amongst each other since who knows how far back, really. You know what I mean? You could sit there and watch a bunch of chimpanzees do backflips in place. I've seen it at the zoo. I've seen it on Nature Channel, nature shows. You see animals doing all kinds of things, you know. And so what would make us any different? We're an extension of nature as well. We have the ability to become contortionists, acrobatics, dealing with the dance and movements, because dance does absolutely heal the village. Music absolutely heals the village. So if everybody feeling good and vibrating on a good frequency, and not to be spooky, but literally your body is vibrating on a frequency based off of what energy wave you're exposed to and what energy waves you're emitting outward from your being. So if you're creating a certain frequency that makes me feel good based on what you're playing on the drum, my body is going to respond. And because I'm in high spirits, good spirits, right? My essence is pure, is feeling good. My whole insides is releasing endorphins and toxins, and the chemical reaction is going on. And so my brain is telling me you're happy. You know what I mean? You're in a euphoric state. Food as well gives us a euphoric feeling. You ever bite into a piece of something, you just be sitting there, man, you start doing a Tootsie Roll because it's so good and you want to lick your fingers and you looking for some more. I know I do. I guess I'll speak for myself, but you know.
I don't know about the Tootsie Roll now. I might be doing one step.
He said, I don't know about the Tootsie Roll. But it just your kids do it, you did it, your nephew, somebody around there doing it, just dancing and eating. Be dancing around the whole kitchen, you know. Um, and I really brought up the circus acts and things too, because my girl recently took me to the circus a couple weeks ago, the Universal Circus, and it's an excellent show. If it's coming to your city, I encourage the family to get out to support. They got a nice presentation for you all. So, within that, you got the ringmaster or the MC. Now, that's a very important role right there, the master of ceremony. Why is that important? Anybody on the panel or in the chat?
What's that?
You gotta be able to control the crowd. You know what I'm saying? That's one of the attributes of being a master of ceremonies. You know, you got to be able to control the crowd.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Let me tell you, as a rapper, as an MC from back in the day, it's important to say something that'll touch somebody's soul, right? So the first thing we do, because a lot of us come from the hood, the first thing we do, we talk about something everybody can relate to. And then after we touch you on that, that particular subject, we start to build the things that, we feel about it personally, which generally most of the people that grow up around you feel that same thing. In other words, we're making a connection with your spirit. So, if I'm talking to the hood, I might say, if I'm spitting right, I say, I meet honeys and string bean bikinis is top heavy like Bot Betty. You're not ready, and go into it. And see how you laugh, see how you move. We might get a comment in the chat. I ain't looking at the chat, but it's because we have the ability to touch you and talk to you and use something from my spirit to touch your soul. And then it opens up. And then you want to date. You're like, hold up, he got bars or whatever you do now, but that's what happens. That's how I felt like when we heard Big Daddy Kane and Rakim and you know what I'm saying, my man Chip Fu back in the day. You hear an MC who can go, it touched your soul.
Hmm. Yeah, and
Some,
it takes. Go ahead.
I was just gonna tell Sutek Haru told you. So I guess he's saying you got bars. I guess with that little flow, he said you got bars. I guess.
Some bars, brother Harold. You know what it is. You know what we doing. We're not taking no L's. And I'm a world supremacy, MC. I'm in the 93 and 91. My man Supernatural, my man Mad Skills. Jay-Z was following me around. We brought Jay-Z here first. You know what I'm saying? We've been in music like that. So me and his cousin Clark Kent. So it's important that you're able to get in tune with what your people are thinking. And as an MC, that's the main thing that we do. We think about stuff you've seen on TV or that's happened around the world, and we talk about it in a descriptive fashion so it can touch your soul.
Hmm. And so my question would be, as an MC, as one who's touching the souls of Black people today, you said you think about what we've witnessed on TV and what we've been through, because obviously you're living the experience as well. You all are, in your craft as you're sitting and you're maybe thinking about how to formulate different ideas. You're putting different political events together and you're looking at what you had for dinner last night, and somehow you end up coming out with a flow that touches somebody because you start talking about what you had for dinner and then you relate it to whatever the president said on the night before with his speech and this, that, and the third. So my question is, and within that, a lot of people are touched because of the truth that you speak, because of the use of figurative language that goes into rhythm and poetry. You know what I mean? Causing everybody to hip and hop around, being that when they start dancing, is because of your rhythm is true, the vibration is true, the events are true, and the poetry is so beautiful because it's also true. You're talking about things that are real that people are relating to. You're not just out here making a bunch of words come together that rhyme and sound good. You know what I mean? You're really living the experience. So I would
Right.
say that you have an equally important role as the griots or jollies of West Africa, the storytellers, the keepers of the tradition. This is what they were doing in their own way with the music because they get their chora going and they get to telling the story of the village and that particular tribe's family and what they were doing for the kingdom. And it's the same thing.
Right. Even through the masquerades, masquerades. That's why I had labeled it is masquerade. African masquerade is the first performance arts. And if you go look at what performance arts is, you got the singing and you got the dancing, and you through the dancing and the singing, you got storytelling. And those same masqueraders in certain traditions did the same. Did the same thing. They told the stories of the clans or the tribes, or told their cosmology stories from to the clans of the tribe through music, and through music and through singing. They was actually acting out certain things that happened in the cosmology stories. You know what I'm saying? Telling a story through singing and dancing, communicating through those methods.
Hmm. And so, an important part of this is the village presence during the festivities.
Right,
So,
correct.
mhm, if so, say Brother Sarim Ka decided that he wanted to spit something for us tonight. Now, I'm not trying to, start nothing. I'm just saying for the, because we all know he can go. We ain't gonna go there. But say, he decide he want to do a little something, something, or maybe he walking around the house during the day and he might just be thinking out loud and just, just being in his own element. He chilling. Now, if no one's there to witness it, right? It's almost like that ancient proverb of if a tree falls in the woods and no one's there to hear it, does it make sound?
Hmm.
Yeah, it's still making sound. It still occurred. Brother Sarim Khan will still spit the bars in the comfort of his own home, whether anyone is there to listen to it or not. I can play my drum in my own home, whether someone's here to hear me or not. You know what I'm saying? It's still happening. I'm still having a conversation with myself. There's that spirit double thing where I'm still expressing myself to myself because I am the extension of the all. We are all part of that one source, that ultimate being, Jay Nyame, God, whoever you want to call the name. And we still having an experience with ourselves, truthfully, which is why it's important to walk with my art. I have not spoken ill of others, et cetera, because I'm looking at the brothers on the panel and I'm looking at myself. I have to treat them with the same respect. If I disrespect one of the brothers on the panel, I've disrespected myself.
Hmm. That's a fact.
You see? And I'm not going to romanticize myself like I just walk all perfectly, all the time. This is what we strive for. It's the reason we go to bed at night and the reason why we get up in the morning, you know. But back to the point, the village presence during the festivities, that with the circus and going to even a simple rap battle on the street, on the corner, anywhere. If what makes the whole hype is the crowd feeding that energy, feeling that crowd's energy when you spit two bars and the whole crowd is just like, yo, what did he just say? You know what I'm saying? You can't even get your thing off because people are already like crazy off the first five words out your mouth. You know what I'm saying? The village presence is an important part of African traditions. And that's why they started to demonize it because they felt that united, we were getting too strong, we would be too powerful, standing with each other, feeding off of each other. You could be in a room full of black people and the right song come on, and everybody in that joint starts stepping. Everybody in there up on their feet, feeling good. You go to certain other parties, man, look, it'd be a whole nother ball game. it's important that we have this total village experience when we can. Like in the movie Black Panther, when T'Challa would have the strength of the Black Panther stripped away from him, they would always pan to the crowd in the village and it would show everybody kind of chanting and popping their back, having that same experience as him, giving him energy and letting him know that they are there to go through the experience with him, to witness the occurrence with him. That also is a very African thing, that your community, your village is present during whatever ceremony that's going on with you. And so history repeats itself. That's Africa's imprint on the modern world. How long have we been around on this planet living? What is the oldest quote unquote Homo sapiens sapien to have lived, bones found, whatever evidence that was in Africa, that we've been living on this planet that long as Africans, okay? Experiencing the world, looking at different tree branches break off and listening to the sounds that they make as we snap the twigs or an animal snaps the twigs, or maybe it just falls off itself. Listening to the different sounds and songs that the birds sing that inspired us to even create instruments like the harp and whatever else that we come up with to be able to make the sounds that we have. What inspired us to even be able to knock on the first piece of surface that would make noise in nature so that we can start to create what we have now that we call the drum? These are the questions that we need to ask in order to uncover our past. No, you can go ahead and go to the next slide, unless somebody has something they want to add. Nobody? Okay, we can move forward. Excuse me. So we have we forgotten our roots? Yeah, another typo. Sorry about that, family. Can we maintain a Sankofa mindset while operating in the modern world? Can we reclaim our African minds? Well, first of all, before I get into the bullet points, I want to ask, what does that mean to you all? What does it mean to reclaim our African minds? Because the brothers on this panel in particular, I've heard say numerous times, especially Brother Kofi. So, what does that mean to y'all?
For me, it's a matter of getting back in touch with some of your traditions, some of your methods, and some of your reasoning. So for me, it's Sia Heka Hu Ma'at, right? Those are my perceptions. Heka, my creative portion, my bringing about of things. Sia, my knowledge, my intelligence. Hu, my wisdom. So those are the things, and Ma'at, the way that I will manage these things as a totality. But when I start to think in that fashion and start to reason in African sensing, then things start to become clearer. It becomes easier. The path is not so difficult because I have thousands of years, possibly millions of years of tradition of my African ancestors to pull from. Other cultures, you have your traditions that you can pull from. And now it's time for us to start to pull from our ancient traditions. It doesn't mean that I start doing things in an old style manner. What it means is that I can start to pull from their knowledge and their intellect in the way that they did things in order to bring things into the modern world. Simple as that for me.
That's about the same. It's important to me. Like I always talk about this a lot. Sankofa, which means to go back or to retrieve. It's better to go back and understand our cultures and our traditions and implement a lot of those cultures and traditions into practice, and also just get a better understanding of the concepts and the concepts that a lot of those people that are succeeding today are using some of those same concepts and same methods to excel themselves and to excel their families and their communities and etc. So it's very important to understand this, and it'll also give you a motivate. It'll motivate you. It'll give you drive. It'll inspire you, and that's what we need right now. Out in the food system, as I call it, we don't have a Sankofa mindset in the school systems. They teach you how to be a European, how to glorify a European. So what it's doing for them is they have a European mindset, where they are teaching their babies, you know what I'm saying, from the first grade, they're initiating, which is nothing but initiatory systems that they have got. First grade is a level of initiatory. Second grade is a level of initiatory. So you go through 12 years being initiated into a school on how to be a European. And it's really not doing too much for you because it's not really empowering you. It's teaching you to glorify the European, to think that the European did everything, and it's giving you a low self-esteem. And that's what our babies are getting in school. And that's what a lot of us grown men and grown women are having, because we don't have that Sankofa mindset, and we have been detached um, from our from our roots. So we must go back and fetch our past.
May I chime in?
Go ahead.
Um, and I hope my first immediate response when that question was asked, and y'all know me, I like to be patient and let everybody speak. But my first immediate thought was the African mind symbolizes to me more than any other mind the appreciation of existence itself. If you was to encompass the totality of African history as we know it and as we uncover it, you see more than anything our appreciation towards existence. Women, children, if you want to label it nature, the cosmos, you see our appreciation towards existence within itself, even our own being, to appreciate being able to exist. And you see through that, you see everything else birthed from that appreciation. Art and all its aesthetics, traditions, culture, good character, being able to encompass, when you can appreciate your own self, it's just like T'Challa said, when you appreciate your own self and who you are and what you are in existence, you understand that everything you see, everything you hear, everything you smell, everything you touch, some way belongs to you. Therefore, when you see these things, you encompass what you want. You want to be treated right, so you treat others right. You want to be loved, so therefore you begin to give love. You want to be understood. So when someone's upset, you learn to be quiet and hear them out, because when you upset, more than anything, we really just want to be understood. 9 times out of 10, we just really want to be accepted as we are. So to me, the African mind symbolizes appreciation towards existence within itself. I'm gonna chime back out. Y'all said so much that I want to chime into, but Brother Kofi, you know me. When I get going, I'll talk for an hour
Oh,
without stopping.
I'm listening because what you saying is powerful. It may be going over some people's head, but that's powerful. What you just
I
powerful.
mean, just think about it. It opened up with the mask. T'Challa said, "Look at the mask we put on every day." Then he asked about Halloween, trying to fuse together and use that. Well, just look at how we see it morph, and how you said the Europeans have their own mind frame. They don't have an appreciation. That's why everything can be sold. Even family members to them can be sold off. It's all about the me to them. We are trying to encompass the why. Why do we exist? Why are we here? Why do I feel? Do others feel? So we trying to learn to appreciate. I mean, one thing about us, who can say they love mama more than black people? And I don't want to take away from anybody else, but look how much we appreciate women and motherhood. You don't really see that honored in too many other places. And I don't want to get too far off track, but my point is we appreciate. Look at what they breeding. Our traditions, 9 times out of 10, are there to train the mind to appreciate life. We look at Halloween now, due to the fact they learned that they can capitalize off of it and they don't appreciate life. They teaching babies at an early age. And I think I mentioned this to you, Kofi, once before as we spoke on the phone. Look at what the idols are in America within itself. You got Jason, Michael Myers. You got imageries of death. They appreciate guns. They appreciate destruction. We appreciate, I don't want to get it wrong, but is it Kepra? We appreciate, I just
Coming
had
into being.
yeah, coming into
Yep.
being. What's the word? Come on now, y'all help me out. Brother Unk's favorite word.
Pseudo.
No, not no, not pseudo. The first war you seen in America with spirituality. I can't believe it. Can't believe I can't get it out.
I don't know.
Uh,
You say so much, I go
coming
lost.
into being is
Yeah,
Darwin.
that's
Everybody appreciate. I mean,
Evolution and things like that.
evolution. Yeah, Kepler and evolution. We appreciate being in growth. They
Mhm.
try to save and cut back. They do it so much they got their own name for it. It's called conservatives. They not trying to give life to other people. They trying to take it away from other people to give it to themselves. There's no appreciation in that. So the African mind needs to be focused on the appreciation of self and existence. And when we learn to appreciate our own, how many have come before us, said when we start loving each other, and I don't want to say just love is going to solve it because it's not an emotional thing, because you have to put this into application. But once you appreciate the fact that you exist, what that really means, that you exist, you got the right to exist, whether you're rich or poor, healthy or not, attractive or unattractive. The fact that you exist has to mean something because you exist. Nowhere in existence can that be found. You're the only one in existence. So the appreciation towards that lets you honor the trees, it lets you honor water, it lets you honor the birds and everything else that existence encompasses. And I think to me, more than everything, that's what the African mind is. And that's why you see such a vast display of this mind, because we appreciate so much. And I think what's hurt us over the past, let's say, 800 years, just stop there. The fact that we didn't feel appreciated because of the bondage we went through, because of the dehumanization that we went through. In the midst of it, we learned to stop appreciating life. But you have to think, how did our ancestors survive such harsh realities for them? Because they appreciated that they exist and they still appreciated another day is coming. And that day might be the day that they finally have peace. That might be the Sankofa moment to tie it all back in. That they get to return to a true state of their mind and of their being and get back to appreciating and loving and living amongst each other. I'm going to chime back out because, like I said, I don't want to take away from the panel and hold the audience up either.
Yeah, that was beautiful, bro. That was nice. Um, Sankofa to me is like the brother says, it's tradition. Going back, fetching knowledge, and getting back your African spirituality, and knowing that we the mothers and fathers of civilization. You know, I think a part of reclaiming your African mind is also you gotta respect your elders. A lot of young black youth, they don't respect their elders, or they don't respect anybody that's older than them. They just go out and do what they do. Taking care of the earth. I know when I was young, I used to throw trash out all the time. Now I pick shit up. I pick trash up. I don't throw it out. I pick it up. You know, you got to take care of the earth for the generations to come. You know, another thing, learning about great men in African history. You know, that's another thing we need to do to reclaim our African mind. Not celebrating European holidays. You know, that's a big thing. That's probably one of the most hardest things to do for people nowadays, is not celebrating them European holidays, because you know you're gonna get into it with your family. You know your kids gonna be mad at you, this, and that. So we gotta, we gotta read more books. That's part of reclaiming your African mind. Our people, we invented paper, so we invented writing. So we need to be able to read as well. What else? I had jotted some notes down. We gotta do a better job of understanding the enslavement of the mind through racism and white supremacy as well. Like Kofi was saying earlier, they put us through these schools, they put us through these institutions, and they only teach us about slavery. But we need to be taught that we was building pyramids, that we was building pieces so we can understand time. You know what I'm saying? We the inventors, we the fathers and mothers of civilization. You know, once you figure that out, you getting your African mind back. That's my piece on that.
No doubt, no doubt.
Yeah. And so to speak to that, because we keep saying how we the first, let's go ahead and go to the first bullet point I have. Most of the elements of ceremonies and rituals come from African traditions. Not because I'm black, but because I have been, and I want you to really pay attention to how I read this. So I'm going to read this very carefully so that you can get where I'm coming from. Most of the elements of ceremonies and rituals come from African traditions. Not because I'm black, but because I have been here so long that I've already thought of the ideas first. I've already shared them with the other versions of myself and have produced people who will ultimately copy me and claim the origins of these ceremonies to be theirs. So when we talk about the coming into being, we're all an extension of the supreme source, the Mukulu, right? And Kulu, everything is everything. Okay. So in the beginning there was nothing, and it was just nothingness. Energy itself is just in existence, right? And that energy manifests itself in many ways to the point where it creates things that we call stars, and this and that and the other, and so forth and so on. And then to the point where life starts to form in the form of what we call planets. And then, based off of the energy stored within the planet, because it cannot be contained, it has to express itself outwardly. And so it manifests itself in the form of microscopic organisms. And then, even further, taking the conversation from it manifesting itself, we have manifested ourselves into the versions that we are today, sitting on this video right now tonight, both in the chat and on the panel. Are we not the same being that has manifested itself, unfolding itself to itself, from itself? Because we can trace ourselves back to the one that we are. You all ever look at bumblebees and the way they behave? They have a hive mind type of mentality. It's one for all and all for one. And part of reclaiming our African mind, we've got to have that beehive type of mindset. If one of the worker bees decide he don't want to make no honey for the hive, or he's not going to protect the queen that's laying the eggs, what you think's going to go on with that bee? The rest of the bees is at that one bumblebee, I promise you that. Or let an invader come in and try to get some honey. What you think's going to happen? You ever try to mess with a beehive? You know what I'm saying? It takes that type of collective thought process, because if one bee dies, that affects the whole hive. Because if all of the bees keep just, well, that bee went off and he went to another flower off away from where everybody else is flying around and pollinating, and he all off by himself pollinating a flower that ain't in the vicinity, what you think's gonna happen? He can't receive the messages from the other bees that is trouble back at the beehive. He might get swatted by one of us, a human being, standing in the field in the flowers, running around enjoying the breeze, and we might take out that bee, and that's it for that bee. And the rest of the bees don't even know about it because he's not around them. Is it not the same thing with us in the streets being gunned down by other invaders, by enemies, people who seek to hunt us and take us down and try to take our honey, being our culture? Distract one of the worker bees, one of us, to get us all off to the side and take us out. Meanwhile, the rest of us is just walking around, ain't thought about it, ain't doing nothing. We just, we just living our lives, unconnected, disconnected. That ain't how no beehive get built. They work together. So while working every day and participating in the modern world, it is important to understand the root of all activities so that we may not lose ourselves in the Western versions of our own traditions. Meaning, as Asar M. Khan stated, we don't have no business practicing, and Brother Satep and Ra stated, European holidays. I know this is the holiday festive time, and everybody like, but I want to see cousin so and so. I'm not saying don't do that, because that in of itself, again, is African. Definitely come together with your families, be with your families. If you got to say a few Merry Christmases, if you got to say a Happy Thanksgiving, do what you got to do. Because at the end of the day, you need that family. But what I'm saying is, if you want to boil down to it, you have got to understand that the origins and the roots of coming together, sacrifice, gift giving, makeup, face paint, honoring the deceased, the Hotep Dinasut that you do every time when October 31st come around, because you giving an offering to the ancestors, because you honoring the spirit of the first thing in nature that was symbolized as a blood sucking anything. What in nature sucks the blood of another thing? Lots of animals in nature do that. So vampires, werewolves, ghosts, and all of that, all of those things can be rooted back to some African spirit, which is an African symbolism for something naturally occurring in the phenomenon. Nothing outside of nature really exists if you think about it. Brother Unk has said that many times. How can you have anything that's supernatural? What is a supernatural anything? Show me something outside of the natural world. Go ahead. I'm waiting. Because the last I checked, the elements that make up me makes up Brother Kofi, Brother Asar, the phone that I'm holding, the words on this presentation, and the air that I'm breathing. We have already begun reclaiming our African minds by purposely seeking out our ancestors' wisdom and implementing their teachings in the form of Ma'at, Iwapele, Isimilo, Esihile in the isiZulu language of South Africa. All of these things talk about good character. At the end of the day, the only way to have good character, the only way to reclaim your African mind, to have a Sankofa mindset to reach back and get, you got to have respect for your grandma and grandpa in order to respect your peers. Because she came before mama. So if you don't respect grandma, you ain't going to respect mama. And if you don't respect the one who brought you in this world and the one that brought her into this world, then how I'm supposed to respect the one that's standing beside me? We have to remember that family, civilization, humanity does not come from the Levant area. It does not come from a Hindu Sanskrit, nothing. Civilization is birthed in Africa. What's the title of the book by Dr. Ben? Man, God, and Civilization? Am I right in that?
That's it.
Okay. So because we've manifested ourselves, we are the thing that we're talking about that we're trying to praise and get closer to. That's something that goes over people's heads, Brother Kofi. You talk about what go over people's heads. People don't understand basically what the brothers have been saying on this panel. We are that being. We just discovering what we can do in this form. So, like I said before, I may not do this 100% of the time, but it is of the utmost importance. It behooves me to respect the brothers on this panel. Are they not the same part energy source that has produced everything? Nothing exists outside of nature. Go ahead and go to the next slide. And so my references for this presentation, it wasn't many slides, but I wanted to focus on getting you all's minds thinking for those of you who don't think about this kind of stuff. Think about what you're doing in this festive time of year that we're coming into, this winter solstice, right? So I have here the Paulus, well, y'all can really pause it and I don't have to read through them all, but you know what I mean? This is where I'm getting this information from, dealing with the All Hallows Eve and the religious readings of Sundays and major feasting days and things like that. This is the 2006 edition. That was really like in terms of encouraging kids, where it comes from with Halloween and encouraging kids to dress up in the Western sense and in the European sense. They were reading things like these type of books, the Paulist liturgy planning guide for the readings of Sundays or Raz days and major feasts and things like that. We got the Kondin masquerade from the Malinke people of Guinea, West Africa. That's just one of the things that wards off evil spirits, if you will, a symbolic gesture. It's the thought about it, it's the consciousness to be aware of negative energy and negative thoughts infiltrating the village. That's the purpose of Kondin. Zhaoli honoring the women from the Guru people of the Ivory Coast. And I have here the Kofi Paisai TV, Mossy Warrior Clan channels giving you tons of information that you're not going to find in history books or anywhere in the schools. Go to any one of Brother Kofi's presentations or any one of the brothers on the panel, anything that they've been on. Check out their pages, check out anything that they've shared. And I want to see if you can really find that information in anybody's grammar school. That's not a charter school or Betty Shabazz somewhere. Okay. And personally, I've dealt with countless West Africans and Africans all over the continent for at least the last 12 years of my djembe career. You know what I'm saying? Giving me information that correlates with what is researched and what is talked about, excuse me, within the Mossy Warrior family. Everything, every presentation that I've watched of Brother Kofi's, I've seen Brother Satepenrod get it in on his own presentations, as well as be a part of Sable's presentations with the Seshu Ma'ani Metanetra. By the way, shout out to the scribes and all of the affiliate families. Brother Asarim Ka clearly is well versed in the traditions of the Remech, which means what? The tears of the sun. So if our
That's right.
ancestors, yes, sir. If our ancestors were calling themselves the tears of the sun, then how in tune with Ra were they to recognize that they are an extension of the all? And really, that's it, family. I just wanted to get everybody's minds turning because this is the type of stuff that I have to deal with every day. I have people asking me questions, 24 hours a day about why do I have this on? Why do I wear scorpions and this and that? They ask me if I'm Scorpio because I got a scorpion around my wrist. I say no, I'm dealing with, Serket. You know what I mean? The goddess of dealing with that poison that comes with certain animals and certain instances in life. And there's more to that, but that's just, for the sake of the conversation, I have to give them a little bit, just a little bite because they can't handle all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Do wow, Saber. The Panther is on the prowl. He did his thing tonight.
Yeah. We want to say, that was a good presentation. And I like the way I like that when we can do things where we can interact with the chat and we can interact with each other and vibe off each other. We do pretty good, man. Vibing off of each other. We can bounce off of each other when we speaking and presenting and doing presentation, man. Again, family, we appreciate y'all for tuning in. Be on the lookout next week. I'll be back. I've been on hiatus for a month. I took me some time off. Um, but I'll be back next week. I'll be back on the Master Warrior Clan channel. Be doing a two-part presentation, and we'll be digging deep and touching on some similar things that we talked about. And brother T'Challa presentation he did tonight. Um, it's called African, and I did one little video put out there. Probably gonna do another video, put another flyer out there to promote the show. It's African religion, African spirituality concepts, and the how and the why. And I'm gonna go in depth on how and the why. Why did our ancestors come up with these concepts of African religion or African spirituality, and even answer the question: is what we call African spirituality, is they calling that African spirituality on the continent? And if they ain't, what are they calling it? So we're gonna go into what they calling it. If they're not calling it African spirituality, we're gonna see where did this word African spirituality comes from, and then we'll go through the different names of the traditions if those people on the continent doesn't call it African spirituality. Well, I'm also walk you through um, the beginning of time on how did they come up with these different concepts, how important and why did they came up with the rituals and the ceremonies and why they involved the rituals and the ceremonies and everything um, that they did. Why did they do certain things to balance out what they call the spiritual world and the physical world? So, and I'm gonna be walking you through a lot of ethnic groups. I won't be talking about one specific tribe. I'm gonna be talking about so many different tribes and their concepts of what we call African spirituality. I also be walking you through the symbolism of what we call African spirituality, how important the symbolism is. So I'll walk you through some of the symbolism. Um, it's gonna be a learning. It's gonna be a great presentation. Those that may not understand what they call African religion or African spirituality, a traditional African religion. Um, we're gonna break it down. We're gonna go in full depth in that. So be looking forward for that for part one, part two. Also be looking out for soon, maybe in the next week or maybe the next 2 weeks, we'll have the brothers back on the panel. We'll be doing part three of good character, more ethics and more values. We're gonna continue that series. And we continue to trying to work on trying to get Dr. Oyama Sister Lama, Sister Kaba Auntie on the platform to do the good character, more ethics, more value. Does character has agenda uh, series, or maybe just that one, just to get the sister's perspective on not African, but on good character, more ethics, and more value. So in the next 2 weeks, be tuning in on Kofi Paisai channel for that. And hopefully we can get Brother Satep in here soon and I'll be coming back on the channel soon to do something on pottery. I'll be going doing a presentation on pottery. But that's it, man. Anybody else got anything to say before I end the show? Any brother on the panel? Anybody in the chat got any questions?
I'm getting ready to flip over to my channel. We're going to do a presentation on Heka. It's going to be the first of a series in Heka. Today we're going to talk about its Netcheru, or its God-like aspects, if you will. And then I got to get a presentation for Kofi. You know, because you know
sir.
what?
You do. Yes, you do. You told me you were going to give me one.
Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to do a presentation called Why You Study Ancient Kemet, because that seemed to be the question. Why y'all think y'all from Egypt? Why you blah 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 blah? This, that, the other, blah 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 blah. So we're gonna go into why we study ancient Kemet, what you should be pulling from it, and where you should be going with it. So I'm gonna put that. I'll probably put it together for next week, and then you could just tell me when we should go, because you got shows lined up. So tell me when it's when you want it to be done, but it should be done by next week.
You think you can do it this Sunday coming up?
Yeah, that's too next week. Nope.
All right, well, y'all heard it. Y'all heard it. I'm Cobb. We'll be back next week with a size presentation. I'm gonna be looking for it. So make sure you got your pen and your paper out. Again, anybody else? And tune in. Asar, give your channel name. He's doing a presentation right after this. Give him your information.
HKN, other word NTR, Heckenetcher, or Heckenetcher, or Heckenenter, however you want to say it. Praises of the divine, basically. So Heckenetcher channel. I should be ready to go in about 15 minutes. And I'm gonna get it in right before y'all go watch this Patriots Packers game, because I know y'all still watching football. Y'all lying. So give me 2 seconds. We can be up and ready.
I ain't lying about it. I'm watching it. Shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? My game, boy, I'm watching football. Okay, what they
For real. Yeah, not watching football is not going to stop the conditions. And last time I checked, Colin Kaepernick was still trying out for teams. So
I wanted to say, first off, I personally appreciate T'Challa and the spirit he brings. And I asked that the chat, I'm pretty sure y'all hit the like button, but, you know, give him some thumbs up, some claps, hearts, whatever it is. Show some appreciation towards the energy and the respect level he brings. He in every presentation I've seen him so far, he represents total good character, and that should be appreciated at the moment, and what he's trying to bring to the table and for all of us to think about. I wanted to say that live over the air instead of afterwards, because I think that's important, that we do show appreciation to those like this, because we see the opposite end of this almost daily. We see the ones who don't appreciate it, who don't take the time to think this way. And these are the tools, and these are the type of characters that we really need within every household and community to bring the changes that we all desperately want and desire within our own self. So appreciate that we got someone that's basically bringing nothing but love to the table and saying, I'm here for you. I appreciate that, T'Challa, and I want everybody else to just take a moment and appreciate that too. All jokes
right.
and all that, you know, we can keep that. We can always be adults, but appreciate that.
Agreed. T'Challa walks like a panther. I have no doubt if we was in ancient times, he'd have been aware of the panther. He would have definitely been a neb, you know, concerning, because a brother like that sound like he soak up information like a sponge, and then he start to expunge it when you bring him out. So yeah, definitely appreciated, and an honor to be on the panel when you talk and when you speak.
No doubt.
Dua. I mean, I just look to the examples that I have that I try to surround myself with. Um, it's not to romanticize anybody, but I do understand that I have viewed a lot of videos and I do watch people's character. And there was a lot of individuals that I will admit that I was tuned in to that don't necessarily help my condition as a black man as I crawl this rock with the rest of myself. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna benefit from emulating Iwa Baruru. I'm already labeled as Iwa Baruru in Western society's mind anyway. What
Right.
was that, brother Satep?
Nah, when you said Iwa Baru, I just said Sean.
Oh man.
Oh my goodness.
But yeah, that's I appreciate that, and I feel the same about the brothers on the panel. And and believe it or not, a lot of those in the chat I watch some of the comments and I look at some of the things said, and it's a lot that I disagree with, and it's a lot that I agree with. But being a man who I am in the community that I represent in Chicago, I got babies looking up to me, man. Like weekly, I'm involved with these teens and these babies that, they got the substance abuse problems, they're homeless, they're this, they're that. I don't just talk about this to try to be like some philanthropic figure. This is what I do to make a meal. You know what I mean? To provide. Like this is what I do. So I have to try to at least walk in my for the sake of the babies, because this is what we doing this for, right?
Right. That's right.
So I appreciate that, brother Vasa, and for the members on the panel and in the chat tuned in.
Yeah, and I gotta also appreciate Kofi at the moment. I seen someone ask if I had a link to my channel. I have a channel, but I've never posted anything, and I steered from it. Met Kofi, and he forced me out of hiding. And I've said it numerous times how thankful that I am to meet Kofi. My little brother found out about this, and the first thing he did was just light up with joy, damn near tackled me, hugging me, saying he's been waiting for me to start voicing my mind out. So I appreciate Kofi putting this together, and it's my appreciation towards elders and his desires that steered me away from trying to put myself out there, because I don't want to take away from anybody else on this planet, because I don't want anybody taking from me. But the fact that he met me, he seen where my heart and my mind was, he brought me into the family. I appreciate that. And my form of appreciation is vowing that I will unite. I will try my best to make his dream manifest. Then hopefully in time my dream can manifest along the way. So much appreciation to Kofi. And I'm sorry, y'all know I don't have a channel where I post anything. I'm if allowed be, I'm an official member of this family. So everything I post or any ideas I come up with will be strictly within the Mossy or Kofi Pasa TV channels.
Tip, you got some, man, before we jump on?
No, not too much. I don't be on. Yeah, I just want to say peace to the chat. Glad to be on here with everybody. Glad we got Brother Vasa on the team. You know what I'm saying? It's always good to have another bright individual that we can pull knowledge from. Glad we got T'Challa on here. T'Challa, like I feel like what Asar said about we was in Kemet. The brother would have that leopard skin on. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, this was definitely a good presentation, and I am gonna be putting one together. And I told what I said, Kofi, the 18th.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I'll be putting something together, and I'll be presenting on the 18th. So yeah, I'll look forward to that.
So we got that on record, because I've been
Yeah.
pulling it. He done three presentations. Think he a rock star. He ain't got to do nothing. Y'all got it on record. You got it on record. He say that I can go right back to this I can go right back to this show and pull him up.
Nah, I'm a man of my word. I said the 18th. That's when I'm coming with it. So y'all be ready.
Yeah, so be on the lookout next week for a Sim Car presentation. And the week after that, be on the lookout for my brother T'challa Rod presentation. And then I'm finna have to get back on Vasa so I can get Vasa back in here with another one pretty soon. And be tuned in. Huh?
I said, come on with it, Vasa. You overdo Vasa. We need 7 to 10 of them, baby. Come on.
Yeah, brother Voss is pretty humble too. He got knowledge too. I appreciate when he come through as well. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, but stay tuned. We'll see you at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time next Sunday on the Master Warrior Clan to my presentation, African Religion, African Concepts, the How and the Why. And on that note, I want to say Shem Hotep, Dua Dua'u, and that just means depart in peace. And thank you very much. Let me share my screen real quick. We'll see y'all next week. Thank y'all for y'all time. Hold on, let me see if I can get back here. I'm trying not to show all my list stuff.
Before we close out, Asar, is there any way you can share your link in this chat for the audience to find?
Absolutely. I'll put it in the hold on, let me start the show real quick. Let me do that. And then I'll put it in this chat, and then I'll put it in the I'll put it in our back chat, our real back chat in the Facebook.
Yeah, do that. Yeah, you can do it because you're administrator. Yeah, whatever they call it. Mediator, whatever it is. Person with you. But all
right. Play it. Red in my team, the red, black, the green. I say.
When man becomes possessor of the knowledge of himself, he becomes master of his environment and captain of his own ship, the director of his own destiny, the accomplisher of his own ends. Man should understand himself because man is full of knowledge, and this knowledge is a gift of nature. When Mother Nature created man, she deprived him of nothing. He was given the faculty of understanding all things around him. This faculty for understanding has not been taken away from him. None of his senses have been taken away from him. So there is no excuse for the black man.
Red in my team, red, black, and green, queens and kings, salute, now scream, I said, bring from another hit, I said, I'm red in my team, red, black, and green, queens and kings, salute, now scream, I said, bring from another hit, I said,
Yeah.